Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Roll it, Tony.
I am very selective. They don't just show up at my door like some homeless dog. What if he wants to kill me or something? Independent professional women take their chances all the time.
I'm here. Can I hear me?
Don't they?
All right.
Why won't he go away? What?
Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest today is a playwright, producer, screenwriter, stage director, theater director, and theatrical producer. I could go on and on and on and on. This guy is everything. Busy man. He's been doing what he's been doing with almost 20 of his plays and productions. He's won numerous awards, fellowships, and scholarships. Once again, wow, we could be here all day and all night. So I'll just say this. I welcome him. I had a chance to work with him. I remember that one when we worked down there in Harlem, the restaurant in Harlem, and I was working with, what's his name, Ian Fox. I remember that work with you. A lot of fun. Thank you so much. Please give him the person a chance. With that, I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Jamal Williams. Jamal, welcome and welcome. Glad to have you here on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
How you feeling today? You got to move on, my friend. Where were you born?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but I was raised in Brooklyn, but I was raised in San Francisco.
Wow. Brooklyn, New York. I'm very familiar with it. Yes, indeed. I was born and raised in Harlem, so I had a chance to move around and see a lot of different things. Working with you has been your first written play, as I understand it. It was for you called it Bloodlines to Oblivion. Remember that one?
Bloodlines to Oblivion. Yes. That was my first play.
Yes.
Very first play.
Oh. So my question is, what makes you get into the business? That's what I want to know about.
I used to live up the street from the Fulton Recreation Center. City bought the building and made it into a place where the neighborhood could meet. And a friend of mine talked me into going over for, watch a reading of a bunch of playwrights. And I got hooked. I've been hooked with them ever since.
Hooking is underrated. Gentlemen, if you knew this, ladies and gentlemen, if you knew this gentleman, you would see he's got his hands in this, he's got his hands in that, he does this, he does a lot of different things. But first of all, let's back a little bit up a little bit. You got an education, did you not?
Yes, I did. San Francisco State University.
Yes. I kind of stay in there with people when we're talking about these shows. Again, education is very, very important. I just recently gave up a job at Santa Monica College. Spent a lot of time in there. And these young people need to understand it's a new era. You got to get what I call an education. Indeed.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. Very unique, very individual. God bless you, sir. So I wish I had more time, but we want to talk and ask you about where do you get your ideas for plays at? Where do you get them?
Originally, I was a short story writer, but everybody else in my workshop was a playwright. And one day I overheard a woman coming out of the theater talking about nobody ever writes prose for females. And it kind of led me onto that, and I've been writing for females, and people tell me I'm pretty good at it for about 20, 25 years now.
I know in my world, it's a word that I use all the time, and it's the word idea. It's a four-letter word. And that's what you need. Where do you get your ideas from? Right? You do this, you do that. Tell us what's it like once you get an idea, what do you do with it from that?
Most of the time, I've written over 30 stage plays, and I've had many of them produced. And I always come up with an idea. I always want to approach the subject from a different point of view. Everybody writes the same point of view when something is hot. But I like, if I'm dealing with a subject that is hot, I like to write it from a different point of view. And, that old question that playwrights say, what if? That's the question that always comes to my mind. And that's the way I try to write my plays. I want to write it from the other perspective perspective. Something 99% of the writers are writing in one way. I'm the 1% writing it a different way.
Oh, that marvelous, marvelous, marvelous four-letter word called idea. One of the plays that you did was called All Coons Look Alike to Me.
Yeah, that's a book. That's one of the books. I have 16 actual produced plays on Barnes Nobles, and that's a book of my short stories. I usually write long stories, 2-act plays, but this is a series of 1-act plays that I wrote. It's about 5 of them, so I wrote it, and I'm kind of proud of it. It's my short pieces, but a couple of people don't like it. They don't like the cover. They told me they'll never speak to me again because they thought the cover was too colored. But I love it. I love it.
Indeed, indeed. Jamal, there's one thing that I have a bone that I pick with actors and actresses. They'll come here to Hollywood. They want to be a star. Great. But they don't. They'll do film. They'll do television. But you can't get that people up on the stage. What's that all about?
Right. And that's because if you look at things, the best actors that come out of Hollywood,
yes,
especially the ones that you see on film, they all come from theater, because theater is a different discipline. In order to do theater, you have to learn who you are. But in order to play a part in a movie, all you got to do is pretend to be that person. It's a totally different thing. You have to learn about who you're playing when you're on the stage. So that's why I love theater actors like Denzel Washington is a theater actor. All the great actors come from theater.
Wow. Wow, that says a whole lot. 5 plays too. And I understand that you do, sometimes you do different projects at different times, sometimes together, same other ways. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've been writing for many, many years. And the first 2 plays I had were done in San Francisco. But I also found out that I can write anything. And I've written screenplays, and I've written short stories, and I've written novels. But the thing that I can't write is I cannot write poetry. I just can't. I don't know what it is about poetry, but I can't get it. But everything else I write.
I have to ask the obvious. What are you doing these days?
I'm writing. I got a little frustrated recently because I'm looking back on the years that I started writing. And I remember living in San Francisco, and there weren't a lot of playwrights. Everybody wrote screenplays, everybody wrote poetry, but nobody wrote for the theater. So I'm looking at that, and now I'm looking at today's time. Been many years of that. Everybody writes plays. And it's kind of, I kind of look at that as being a benefit, because then that means we have a lot of voices. Theater is nothing but voices that people believe in. Now we have a lot of voices. Some of them are good and some of them aren't. But I love the fact that we have so many playwrights out there, and it makes me feel good. So, and it's like you were asking what I was doing. One of the things that I was getting a little frustrated, because I write so many things about women, and people are interested in them, but nobody wants to ask me to look at what it is I'm writing. So, you sit back, you finish a project, and you think it's very good, and you put it down, you wait for somebody to call you, and you never get the call. So what I've found out over the years is that most of my stuff is being picked up years and years and years after I finish it, and that kind of makes me feel good. So, that's the way I write. I write, and, whatever ideas come to my mind, even if nobody else is interested in it, I'll still write it. But then maybe 5 to 10 years before somebody picks up, say, oh, that's interesting. So, I kind of look at it as being like when I was in college, I remember that one of the things that nobody likes in college is history. No, unless you're a history major, nobody likes history. But then I'm finding out history in college is where you find out where everything is, the real stuff is happening. So I guess that's what I do. I guess I write historical plays, and it takes people a little while before they discover them. If I'm still here, that's fine. If I'm not, I'm still writing them, because I'm writing them every day. And I just love the fact that I'm sort of a historian.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about. He's busy,
Yeah.
busy. It was 2017. You did a story and a play, The Dorothy Dandridge. Remember that?
I did it before that. I actually created the Dorothy Dancers called Yesterday Came Too Soon.
Yes.
And I created it when I lived in LA. And it was produced in LA for the first time, starring Sloan Robinson. And it ran for 9 weeks, which was really amazing at the theater up on Sunset in Gower. And so that was 1986. 1986. But the play's been done a lot of times. Go back to 2017. I think the actor herself created it with a producer, and they did it in L.A. And so that was quite a treat.
The obvious is, did you ever meet her?
Yeah, all the time. The actress was fabulous when we did it. The director has passed on recently, but it's still something that I'm very proud of. And most of the time when people see or when they read it, everybody wants to do it. So I'm a realist, and I realize that sometimes you can have people that want to do theater, but they're not capable of doing theater. So I just hang in there until the right person comes along, and hopefully it'll be picked up by the right person.
I ran across clip 3, Elizabeth Precious Kitty Theater for the New York. Nice piece of work. Roll it, Tony.
Yeah, that was done. Her name was Michelle Thompson and Michelle Powell. And Michelle has always been I always call her my right hand, because every project that I've done in the last 15 years, she's been involved with it either as a director, and at this particular piece, she actually acted in it. So that turned out to be a kind of a treat. She did a very good job. And that's another one of those female plays that people tell me that I shouldn't have the nerve to write because I'm a man. But at the same time, that's the challenge. So as the challenge, I try to write it from a woman's point of view. And I think I did pretty good. So that was a good play. Really had fun with it.
When you see, we're going to send you a copy that you'll see exactly what was going on while we were talking about. Definitely. We got a few more moments. I found another one. Jamal's Body of Workbook 12. They call it the Mojo Man.
The Mojo Man. Yeah, that's another one of my plays. I saw a thing about, men having problems with their mates, and their mates going off to see the Mojo Man to get a spell passed on them. And in return, it's sort of a funny play. And in return, the tables were turned on them. So they saw what it was that they were doing to the females. So this is a play I had a lot of fun with. A lot of fun.
Wow. You're doing a little work right now. Just when you say doing some of the work, there's a lady by the name of Kimmy Song. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, Kimmy just directed my first film that I had a part of. And Kimmy was one of the first actors that I ever hired a long, long time ago when we did a festival over in Marin County. And that's where I met her. We've been friends ever since, even though she's moved on and got grown kids and stuff. And she came back to me. And of all the pieces that she liked this piece. And I'm saying, well, Kimmy, this play is like 20 years old. Why do you want to do it? Then I realized that is what people look for. They look for something that tunes into them, and usually it's in the old piece. So yeah, Kimmy, and this is her first film. And I've had a couple of films that people have attempted to do, but for one reason or another, it never happened. But this was the first one that she actually produced and actually filmed and actually had in the festival. So it made me feel very good.
Tony, can you show us the Blue Moon? This is, thank you. This is, look at that. That is good stuff. That's a young lady right there. You were the writer.
That's it.
And everything else. Everything.
Yeah, it used to be called the Blue Mirror Review. And it was a simple little play, something that I didn't even think of. And I wrote it, and for some reason, she was in a couple of other plays that I did. But for some reason, she found an attraction to this particular play, and she actually filmed it, directed it, produced it, and had it in the festival. I mean, I cannot ask for anything more than that. It was great. seems so good.
Speaking of people, there is an event that takes place every odd summer in Winston-Salem, North Kakalaki, as
Yeah,
they used to call it.
yeah.
It's called the
I just,
International Black Theater Festival. Man, I
right.
am.
I just got back. I just got back from it. And what's funny is that on the day before I was going to drive down, I drove down with some actor and some technician friends. And the day I was going to drive down, I was on the subway, and I fell down the stairs on the subway the night that they were going to pick me up. And I think the one thing I thought was fine is that I didn't break nothing. I mean, I skinned myself up, but I didn't break anything. And I drove all the way down there to Winston-Salem with my friends. And I couldn't, when I got there, I went and I had to support a couple of people that are in a workshop that I run. So I saw their stuff, but other than that, I couldn't do anything. Usually I keep myself very active because I love it. It's like a family reunion. But this time I guess the pain must have caught up with me, and I ended up just kind of taking it easy,
Because I would love to get down there. That is the cream de la cream down there.
Right. Family.
Every
I call it family time.
uh-huh.
Everybody, it's a time where people from all over the country get together, and there's people that live in the South that don't have access to theater. And when we do something in Winston-Salem, they love it. And I love it too. I just love the fact that when you get in a situation like that, nobody's a star. Nobody's, a superb actor. Everybody is family.
Yes.
Theater family. And I love it.
And I understand for 1 or 2 years, over a period of time, they looked at your work, I understand.
Oh, yeah. I had to play, actually, the plays you mentioned yesterday came too soon, the Dr. Dandridge story. They actually did it in a large theater, Wake Forest Theater, and they did it as part of the representation of the plays that they did. I was proud of that, too.
Yes. Jamal, what do you tell people who want to get into this business? A lot of people think I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Yeah, you can do it, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. Starting with some education.
Exactly. I mean, I teach a class twice a month on Saturdays. And every writer that comes in, I tell them the one thing you have to do when you do theater is you have to be observant. You have to go and actually visit people who are doing plays. And everybody has their own means of doing a play. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. But you need to, if you're going to be serious about being a writer, you have to see what other people are doing, and then you do it yourself because you're the one that's going to bring up, you're going to bring up the tradition, and it's going to be up to you. So you got to be the next group of people jumping up there to try to bring in theater. So that's why I tell everybody, be observant of whatever you see. You go and see as many plays as you can see because you'll be surprised of the ideas that come up just by watching the play, whether it's good or bad.
Yes.
So that's my suggestion.
Here's one I wish we would like to talk about if we have a moment. AI, artificial intelligence. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's really funny you asked me that because I have a friend in the workshop who runs all the technical stuff, and he's really into AI. I cannot get into it. I guess I'm from the old school or something because he's so deep into it. He's making music and he's making posters and stuff. And I look at it as like being a foreign science. I'm trying, it's something that, like everything else, it takes me a while before I get it, but I do not understand AI at all. I try to, and maybe one day I will, but I don't get it right now.
Okay. It's I'm seeing a lot of people talk about that, going on, doing all kind of picketing and things of that nature. People, it's money. It's money.
Yeah, it's jobs, people's jobs.
Okay.
The thing I believe that would be scary to me, and it could happen, is that AI, if you can create characters out of, just making them up, will somebody one day be able to create writers and just make up plays? That's the thing I'm afraid of. I don't know if it can happen, but I guess it could happen,
All right. Well, Jamal, thank you so much, sir, for stopping by today to share the work that you have done. It is fun. It is tremendous. It is Jamal Williams. And
Thank you very much.
that's you, my brother. Yeah,
Thank you.
there's one thing I have to say to you, I must say to you, and that is break a leg.
I'm going to try. Thank you. Thanks a lot. You have a good day.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All
Okay.
right. Bye-bye.
This is the Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Roll it, Tony.
I posted an interview with Rudy Schenker and Matthias Diabs, an interview I did here in Abu Dhabi. And there is a good sum of comments of hate against Rudy Schenker because he stole from his brother, because I don't know what, this whole thing, okay? So now you're gonna tell me you have never listened to a Scorpion song in your whole life? You have never listened to a Scorpion song that was written by Rudy Schenker?
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guests today are here to discuss artists against hate. This is a subject that sometimes affects people. We have two good-looking people here today who can tell you some good information. They are as follows. Kathryn Ervin, she's a professor in the Theater Arts Department of Cal State San Bernardino. And there's another young man here, Brian Townsend, who grew up on newspaper and real estate business. So without further ado, Kathryn and Brian, welcome to the Actors Show. Nice to have you. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's nice to be here.
Indeed. And I want to thank that young lady who's my good buzz. What's her name? Busby? That's my girl. If I need something, she calls me, I call her. We talk about each other. We opened up with, I went around looking for some things, but you just saw there was rant. Why do we want hate on social media? What is this words that people use all the time? What is artists against hate? What's that all about?
Well,
Well,
also,
Brian,
go ahead.
you
The Arts Against Hate is really the effort that we're doing to join the California versus Hate campaign. And there are many ethnic publications and media outlets that were tasked with joining the campaign. And rather than just writing stories, we decided to produce concerts where the artists that we were meeting that were engaging themselves in creating content or artwork to fight against hate. We wanted to showcase their efforts.
Okay. But why do people get so mad over somebody else's work? What's that about? Are they that, in Hollywood, there's a word it's a 3-word word. I say it all the time. We call it ego. Some people call it ego. Ego get in the way. Do you know who I am? No, I don't know who you are. Yeah, who you are. Get out my way. I'm just as good as you are, if not better. I'm glad you're laughing at it, Kathryn.
it's very, very true. It's very, very true. Well, putting this particular concert together gave us an opportunity to encourage some artists to share the ways that we get out of each other's way. There are artists of ego, and then there are artists of collaboration, and we are really thrilled to be working with some very, very collaborative artists and to provide an opportunity for them to showcase particularly their political, and political is perhaps not the word I want, how strongly the arts can speak to a particular moment in history and time. This is a moment when there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of hate speech, there's even more hate action. Haterade, I believe, is the term some have used, right? And this concert showcases artists bringing a beautiful view of what how socially that work impacts and how we feel the effects of hate, and that we need to do something against hate. And that's what we're trying to showcase in this particular event.
Is politics involved in this field?
Is politics involved in the field?
Well, is it into what it is? Hate on narratives.
Of course. Of course. The rhetoric around who you love, how you love, where you love, right? And that not just rhetoric, but in fact action. People, you know, uh, uh, creating criminal activities against individuals because of where they choose to worship or who they choose to be in, who they choose to be seen with, where they choose to be seen, right? We assume a place then plays a role in this kind of stereotyping, and that's what it is, right? All LGBTQ people are X, therefore they are all X. You know what I mean?
Well, there's enough politics running around right now, as we all know. So
Yes.
I'm going to get down there and vote. That's all I got to say about that.
Yes.
Yes, I'm a veteran of the United States Navy, and last week I was very upset with a certain individual. I'm going to have to name his name. He never was in the military. I spent 22 years, and here he's never been in the military and badmouthing people with Medal of Honor. Don't talk to me that way.
Yeah.
But our life's on the line.
Yep.
Okay, moving right along. What is the California Against Hate campaign?
Brian, you want to talk to
Yeah.
that one?
And the campaign itself was really an offshoot of, during the pandemic. We talk about, people are mad about who you love and where you love, but sometimes they're just mad at who you are, the stereotype. And during the pandemic, when the voice was, it was the China flu, or they were blaming Asians for causing the pandemic, and people would just be walking down the street and being attacked just because they were Asian. And so, the reality is, as bad as that is and was, African Americans have twice as much hate crimes against them than any other group. And so California versus hate was an offshoot of, let's attack all of that. It's not, even though I think the straw that broke the camel's back was the attack on the Asians during the pandemic. California, through Governor Newsom and his team, said, let's fight against that. Let's fight against hate against African Americans. Let's, against LGBTQ, against women. There's gender hate. There's just so much hate, and we have to find different ways of acknowledging that it exists, finding ways to combat it. And this effort actually also provides resources so that if you are attacked in a hate crime or a hate incident, that there are ways to report that crime or incident. There are ways to receive services from the state to recover from those incidents. And so we'll be handing out a lot of information on what to do if you see or participate or attack yourself, and just to help deal with that problem.
What did you two good people get into? How did y'all want to get into this business? What got you in it?
Well, I was going to say, I have had the privilege of working several times with Brian and Maura on events that always showcase excellence and always present particularly members of the BIPOC community to audiences that may not have an opportunity to be engaged and know about these artists. So when they brought this proposal to me, that was thing one. And then thing two was this notion of stopping the hate. The idea that one of the important things that we're trying to point out with this program is that there are resources and that it's not an isolated incident. You said you had served many years in the Navy. Did I get that right? And then the importance of if you see something, say something. For so many years, particularly in the African American community, we were under the impression that things were happening to us, around us, and those were isolated incidents. And the George Floyd incident particularly showcased in a dramatic way that no, it was not isolated. It was happening to many people in many places. And the Stop the Hate campaign similarly says, let's spotlight this evil, because that's one of the ways that we begin to identify and eliminate, is to say, this is happening. It is not your imagination, and it is unfair, and it is wrong, and it needs to be eliminated. So given all that, how could I say no, right?
Yeah.
Especially in these times.
Right.
So that's why we got involved. With when the California versus Hate campaign began, they did a big PR push about creating the campaign, and the ethnic media really stepped up and asked to be a part of that campaign because there's the general media will touch and go on this issue, but nobody reaches our communities the way that we do. Historically, there have been African American newspapers around the country since the early 1800s.
Yes.
And, there are Hispanic publications, there are Asian publications that reach specific populations. There are publications for LGBTQ. So there are just so many media outlets that are available to start protecting our communities on this issue that we thought that we needed to be engaged. And we actually received a grant from the state. Many ethnic media outlets received grants to help push the campaign, and that's why we're participating.
By the way,
And the opportunity to showcase how the arts specifically can illuminate these ideas, right? How the arts, how artists speak out about and to social issues, large social issues.
Thank you. Brian, you were in the real estate business. A dear friend, I think you know him, Ted Brass.
I'm sorry?
Ted Brass. You're in the real estate business.
I'm not in we had real estate investments. I'm not really in the real estate business. My father was a broker, but I just kind of built on his investments and took care of the family business.
Gotcha. I see you found the Long Beach Leader in 1997.
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was graduated from early graduation from Cap State University, Long Beach.
Right. And we also have the Tri-County Bulletin in Orange County, and we have the Precinct Reporter in the Inland Empire.
That's all we can say. Why use artists to promote this campaign?
Well, we're excited. When we've actually had two other concerts. We had one in San Bernardino, we had one in Santa Ana, and the reaction from the audience is just so powerful. When you have people watching how artists have just created these dance pieces or visual art or spoken word, and it's just so powerful, the reactions that we're getting. And we've even had audience members stand up and participate and talk about their own experiences with hate crimes. And it's just really a powerful experience. I think it's better than even just writing stories and pictures. That's why I think we have a very unique opportunity here using our publications and our media outlets to showcase these concerts because they are very powerful. And we hope that the audience, and they're free. So we're hoping that the audience will come to Cal State Dominguez Hills on September 6th and just come to a free concert and really see some powerful local artists who are against hate.
Art always amplifies and elevates in a way that touches the human being and the inner spirit of the human being, right? The literature and reporting and all of those modes tell a story one way, but when the story is told through dance or theater or music, the story is elevated, the story is heightened, the story is given additional importance. And that certainly is what we're trying to do with this event.
We got a photo that we show here. Well, there we go. Want to see this one? This is a save the date, September 6th concert at CSU Dominguez Hills. There it is.
Yes. All right.
7 p.m.
Yes.
Come out. Hope everybody comes.
And
it's free.
And it's free.
That's
You
right.
you will, and these are world-class artists who are contributing their time to this event. That you will be supporting the arts community. You will be supporting the impetus and the campaign against hate, and you will be feeding your spirit at the same time. So it's a really great event.
Wonderful. The gentleman who came on ahead of you, we talk, and everybody we get on the show, we always talk about AI, artificial intelligence. What do y'all think about that little guy?
It's coming.
I,
We know that. It's, and
what,
it's a dangerous new element in our lives, but it's coming. And so we've got to be prepared. We've got to understand it, and we've got to be ready to engage it and regulate it where necessary. But especially for in our business, and we're really nervous about disinformation that's going to come from AI, and it's already happening. So we've got to really figure out a way to uh, stay on top of that.
I am always hopeful that human ingenuity and creativity, and I read a lot of science fiction, P.S., that human ingenuity and creativity is going to come out ahead. I am continue to believe that, these new advances. I am an old enough person to remember when the computer came along and what we said about that, right? And yet here we are, right? So this is hopefully going to become another tool in the arsenal of creativity. I think creative people are there's going to be some shocks while we figure out how the thing works, but at the end of the day, humankind is going to make more of it. That's what I think. But I'm an optimist.
I think we're all optimistic, but it's a very serious subject, and we've got to really pay attention to it.
Yes.
So for the concert, who's going to be some of the people that might be hoping to attend?
Maura Townsend Dance, of course, is the headliner. Project Brackus, which is an LA-based contemporary dance company, will be presenting. Kibeli Dance, which is the artist is Middle Eastern, but the dances speak to the world. And I believe those are our three principals. Joyce Lee will be. I'm sorry.
Fuse Dance Company.
Oh yes, Fuse Dance Company from Santa Ana, from the Long Beach area. Very powerful. Joshua Estrada Romero, very, very compelling dancer. Joyce Lee will be serving as one of our narrators, filmmaker and artist from the Los Angeles area. And Ron Berglass will be collaborating with us as well, providing some narration. Another film performer who is generously contributing his time and talent to the project. And both have been, I should mention, the narrators have been really helpful in terms of putting together the message, right? So it's not just one piece of work, it's many artists coming together and say, no, this will be more powerful if we say it this way, if we put the message together in this way. So it's going to be really exciting.
Yes. What are the challenges in putting together a program of this type?
Well, each venue is different. Sometimes it's acquiring the performers. Yes. Sometimes it's acquiring the venue. Yes. But actually, it came together very, very well because Kathy has been collaborating with Maura Townsend Dance Project for several years now. Over different productions that she has produced, and the dancers. It's a small world. They know each other. So she reached out to those that she felt would provide content for the anti-hate. It's got to match the yes. what we're trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. And so we looked at different dance companies and saw their work. And so that was in 2023 as we were developing the project. Then we went to different venues. When we were in San Bernardino Valley College was excited. They co-produced it with us. They provided the venue. They provided technical support. When we went to Santa Ana, we really went to look at their site, and we weren't sure how they would react. And they were so excited about the project that Fuse Dance Company joined in, and because he's based at Santa Ana College. And so they also provided technical support, although it was during the summer. It was a lot harder to engage the campus because it was the summertime, but they really came through. We had a very powerful presentation. This concert will be kind of challenging because it's right at the beginning of the school year. So the campus is very busy with so many different events going on at the same time. But we want to make sure that as the students come in, we can engage them and the community on anti-hate at the start of the school year. So,
Yes.
One of the other big challenges is a lot of our communication, of course, is verbal, email, phone conversations, and we're talking about dance, which is an expressive movement form. So understanding, frequently I don't know what the piece is going to look like until I get to see it in the rehearsal the day of the event. So that is delightful, and that is also a challenge, because I am leaping out on faith saying, okay, they said this is what the dance is, let's see it. And it's been a delightful surprise to see how very expressive the performers are, and how completely the content of their pieces matches the ideas that we're trying to get across in the Artists Against Hate concert.
Kathryn, Brian, special thanks to you coming down today. Against Hate on Friday, September the 6th, Community and Performing Arts Concept. Free admission, folks. Free admission. Best wishes and thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Yours, Cynthia Buzz.
Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Wish you had
All
more.
right.
Wish you had more
Right.
back. Yeah. Please come on back again another time.
Okay.
All right.
We will look forward
Thank you
to
very
seeing
much.
you there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. This is roll it, Tony.
I'm Nicholas Palafil. I am the playwright of God Will Do the Rest.
My name is Fran De Leon, and I am the director of God Will Do the Rest.
Hi, I'm Rina Beth Concepcion Apostol, and I play Maggie.
I'm Reggie Lee, and I play Ferdi de Dios, the patriarch of the family.
I'm Ellen D. Williams, and I play Connie de Dios.
Jason Rogel, and I play Babette, Lola Babette, Tita Babette, all the variations of Babette.
My name is Jessica Canilau, and I play Fritzy.
Okay. Reggie, good to see you, my friend.
Oh boy. My biggest apologies for the crazy,
not in my vocabulary. We're gonna
crazy morning.
Okay, here's a word. Here's some good words. God will do the rest. Tell us
Oh boy, right? Right?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm really proud to be a part of this play. I haven't done a play in a minute.
Yeah.
But literally almost a full Filipino cast, and being the least representative of the Asian cultures, I think, in the United States, and still being the second largest community of Asians in the United States. It's wonderful to have these projects finally come about and be a part of. We're like a family already, so it's not only is it about Filipino families, but I think it's very universal in what it has to say about family dysfunction, which everyone has, unconditional love, and growth, which is what we all want, right? But don't always necessarily jump into. The dysfunction you can't help. It's already there. So, but I think everyone is going to be able to relate to it, and all of that is told with a lot of heart and a lot of humor.
Now you got a big cast. Tony, can you show us number 30? There you go. Thank you. Meet the cast.
I know, right? Listen, they're really wonderful in providing understudies for us all. We are in LA, and a lot of us do film and TV work, and so it's like these understudies, they're so wonderful and so amazing. But yeah, it's our main cast is a cast of 7, I believe. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 understudies. So it's a pretty big group of people. And we have a good time all the time. And we are opening this weekend. Previews start Thursday and Friday. We open on Saturday. That's crazy. Time has flown.
There's a uniqueness here. You're talking about Filipinos and bringing good talent here.
I think we've always had the talent. It's very interesting. Filipinos are like, Lea Salonga, and these people that have made their mark, starting early on in musical theater, and we've all kind of jumped on that bandwagon. And the talent has always been there. The material has never been provided. So now we have Filipino playwrights that provide the material for us. And we're starting to, as we start to find more stories that are relatable to this American fabric, you know, and how we grow up here in America, there are even more stories being written and more visibility. It's going to take people greenlighting these things. And fortunately, you know, this was workshopped at the Geffen. Nicholas is an amazing playwright. Fran DeLeon is an amazing director. And it's literally one of those things that is a dream come true. Yeah, we've got the talent. Now we have to provide the material. I mean, everyone kind of knows that, right? Especially right now in the industry when it's, you know, kind of, it's almost a contraction in the film and TV industry. And what people are buying are like A-list names and all that kind of stuff. So it's the time to really put your mark out there and to work on your own projects. And fortunately, this is one that came from the ground up.
Excellent. We got a video I want to show you. Roll it.
Yeah.
The play is about a Filipino family in Cerritos, California.
Which is kind of like the capital of, you know, Filipino people in the United States.
And they're having kind of a prayer vigil, which is a very Filipino Catholic thing to do. And in the midst of this, we get to meet the cast of characters in this family.
There's like sheep of the family, the moody grandson, stoic dad, the bougie sister.
Family, comedy, and a family drama. Just mush right into each other.
Wonderful. Okay. A lot of people don't realize the second largest group of Filipinos are right here in Southern California.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. Even, you know, my aunt and uncle are from Cerritos. That's where this play is based. And I used to visit them because I grew up in Ohio. I used to visit them like every summer and stay with them. So now I'm back in Cerritos.
Oh, gosh. Indeed. It is beautiful. Tony, if you could please take it to 39A. This will show you the place where it is. There you go. Thank you, sir. That is the Latino Theater Center. There's a lot of history in that building right there. So 514 South Spring Street, Los Angeles, 90013. Good parking, would you say?
Yes, good parking. There's a lot right behind that's provided for the Los Angeles Theater Center, and come on in, and we'll hopefully see you after the show and give you big hugs as we Filipinos do.
What is the uniqueness of the way it said, God will do the rest world? To walk from it.
You know, it's a very, very Filipino saying. It's like, God will take care of you. God will do the rest. Do as much as you can, and God will do the rest. There's so much, you know, we grew up in a very, very Catholic upbringing, and very much a Filipino. Filipinos are like Latinos, right? So I think hence this co-production with a Latino theater company. But it is a staunch belief that God will take care of you. And it's, you know, it's very, very generational. I think we as kind of a second generation here in the United States tend to, you know, dig deeper into our religion. I think my parents tend to just say God will do the rest and accept it for what it is. And it is just what it is. But for us as a generation, it's like, well, what is that? What do you mean by that? And how will God do the rest? And how do I come in contact with God?
Yes.
The older generation is more like, don't even worry about it. You know, they're the ones that are, but I think that's necessary to provide the younger generation with questions for themselves and to pass it on to their kids. And I am very grateful that I grew up in a very, very religious family. I myself wouldn't call myself necessarily religious. I'm very spiritual, but that was because I was in 12 years of Catholic school and saying God will do the rest, and finally decided to question it myself.
Reggie, you have done it today. It looks like this new play looks what we call GOOD. You might have heard that expression.
Yes, sir. I have.
So folks, if you want to go, the name of the place is the Latino Theater Center.
Actually, the Los Angeles Theater Center. Los Angeles Theater Center.
Right.
But the Latino Theater Company is based there.
Yes. Okay. Telephone number 213-489-0994. Folks, and one more thing for you, Reggie. Break a leg, fella. Break a leg.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
I'll get together another time. We'll get you back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman Photography as an Art, Ron Irwin's Lose Life, The Way to Lose Weight, Larry Buford's book To the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule. State Farm agent Carla Green and veteran actor Rob Reinstein's actor training facility. It's called an actor space. Interesting. And much thanks to our guest today, playwright Jamal Williams, yes, actor, producer Reggie Lee, and artist never hate experts Kathryn Ervin and Brian Townsend. The Actor's Choice presentation of B&B Productions with Rudolph Brewington as the president and my dear friend Sydney Chandler as our executive producer. Special thanks to our ever-growing audience. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. We'll be back again next time. Take care.